And hey guys, it's Al again, back here with another wrestling review. Today we're talking about 2019 Summer Slam. Now, I watched it live tonight, or I'm still in the process of watching it live. I'm kind of recording these as the show goes on. I'm having a lot of trouble with my network. It's really annoying. Anybody else having that issue? You should really expect a little extra traffic on nights like tonight. Anyway, again, as always with these reviews, this is the opinion of just a fan. Never worked in the business. These are just my thoughts on the matches. The night started off with Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Actually, I thought it was a little weird that they started with this one. Sure enough, Natty was cheered very heavily through the match. And so was Becky, oddly enough, actually. I'd expected Becky to get a little more booed. She didn't. The match was fine. There weren't any major issues with it. It was a pretty standard fare for a submission match. No major gripes. They did the typical swapping of submission finishes and all that. In the end, Becky Lynch won with the disarmer. And I have to say, good job on both of them selling the effects of the finishes after the match. I love seeing people continue to sell things after a match. Make it look like you were in a fight. Come on. So, perfectly passable match. No big gripes. Again, didn't knock my socks off. Both Becky Lynch and Natalya are solid wrestlers. But hey, it is what it is. It was a solid match. Be interesting to see where they all go next. Next, we had the match between Dolph Ziggler and Goldberg. Honestly, wasn't much of a match here. Dolph Ziggler jumps the gun with a super kick, gets 2 count, does it again, gets 2 count, spear, jackhammer, match is over. If anybody thought Dolph Ziggler was going to win this match, well, I'm sorry, you were crazy. This was the make good match from Saudi Arabia, which I heard that match was terrible. I didn't actually see it. I do not watch any of the Saudi Arabia stuff. But, yeah, this was Goldberg's make good match. And I'm sorry, I don't like it when these old guys come back, beat the current talent. Don't like it at all. The current talent should be winning these matches. After the match, Dolph called Goldberg back, said anybody can get lucky, basically. You don't have the balls to come down here and fight me man-to-man. Goldberg comes back, spears Dolph. Goldberg goes away again. Dolph does it again. Goldberg comes back, spears Dolph. Goldberg goes away again. That was about the story of this match, and it was about as exciting as it sounded. This was not a great segment. I'm sorry. I would have liked to have seen Dolph win, actually. I think these legends need to start losing. They should be passing the torch, putting people over, not winning these matches. I'm sorry. They just shouldn't. I don't like it when any legend does it. I don't care how big a fan I am of you. When Sting came back to wrestle Seth Rollins, I was saying from the get-go, Sting should not win this match. Might be a nice feel-good moment if he does. He should not. As much as I am a fan of Sting and love Sting, yeah, he should not. I didn't think he should have won that match then. Although circumstances were a little different because Seth had just wrestled a match. But, same thing. In a straight head-to-head match, the legend who's up there in years, well past their prime, should not be beating the guy that's in his prime. Unless the guy that's in his prime is just a complete scrub. So unless that's what you think Dolph Ziggler is, I'm sorry, Goldberg shouldn't have won this match. But, again, if anybody thought Goldberg was going to lose, you were nuts. I've rambled on about this match longer than it went on already. Let's get to the next match. Next, we had the United States title match between AJ Styles as the champion and Ricochet, the challenger. Now, going into this, I had thought this was just a match for them to give Ricochet a big moment at SummerSlam. I thought that's the whole reason they took the title off him. But AJ still got it. AJ ends up winning this match. That said, I'm also not a huge Ricochet fan, and I'll be honest with you. He just isn't convincing for me. He's got no real psychology in the ring. About the only look he does well in the ring is that dead eyes, I've just been knocked loopy look. That's about the only thing he does that I think is very convincing. He's a great athlete, a lot of potential, but he focuses way too much on the flippy stuff. Flippy stuff can be great, but when that's all you got, that's an issue, and that's about all Ricochet's got. Again, this is my opinion. There were, however, some things I liked in this match. Most of them were from AJ, because AJ's great, let's be honest. So, you know how Ricochet will do his thing where he'll turn around, he gets his running start, and he goes. He tried to do that to AJ. AJ kicked him in the leg and knocked him down. It's about frickin' time somebody did that. I'm sorry. Anytime an opponent does that to you, that's what you should be doing. End of story. Stuff like that should have been happening for a long time now, I think. So, yeah, there's that. Let's see. AJ was working Ricochet's leg. Ricochet's selling of the leg was sporadic at best. It didn't really factor into the finish at all. It also didn't stop Ricochet from doing anything in the match. He was bouncing around like it was nothing. They tried to sell it as though he was doing it on one leg, but I'm sorry, you're not going to do that stuff with just one leg. And if your knee's as badly banged up as they want you to think it is, he's not going to be able to do that stuff. You would have had to have wrestled different somehow, or his moves just wouldn't have worked. So I had that was a big issue I had with this match, was the lack of actual consistent selling. And next we had the match between Ember Moon and Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title. I forget what show it was there for a second. I had a little bit of a brain cramp. Anyway, Ember Moon versus Bayley. This match, honestly, it was more entertaining and more engaging than Natty versus Becky Lynch was. I enjoyed this match a lot more. I was a lot more into this match despite the complete lack of a build for it and an intensely crappy build for it. It was a crappy build. Overall, it was a good match, though. The one issue I had with it is there was one spot where they're going through their stuff, and it's obvious that Ember's supposed to sit up so that Bayley can do her running clothesline thing, and I'm guessing Ember was supposed to duck out of the way of it. Ember never sat up to do it, so Bayley just went ahead and jumped right past her. It looked terrible. But other than that, the match went smooth. Everything looked good. They were both doing a hell of a lot of selling after the match, which I really liked. They were selling that the match actually happened, which is awesome. Yeah, good match. And up to this point in the show, at least, this was the best match, in my opinion, that had happened. And next we have Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens, the match where if Kevin Owens loses, he loses his job. This is another match there isn't much to. Right at the beginning, Shane McMahon calls out Elias, makes him the special guest enforcer for the match, and basically the entire match is Shane McMahon trying to win cheap by having Elias distract Kevin Owens, try to get him counted out, or trying to tempt Kevin Owens into hitting Shane with a chair. At the end of the match, referee turns his back to get a chair out of the ring. Kevin Owens hits Shane with a low blow. Stunner. Match over. Kevin Owens wins. it was as decent a match as you can get. Shane McMahon was not really made to look competitive against Kevin Owens, which I like. That's how they should be booking Shane, in my opinion. He's the boss's kid. He shouldn't be booked to look competitive with the wrestlers. He just shouldn't be. Now, you can have him pull every dirty trick in the book to win matches, as long as he doesn't actually look like he's straight competitive with them. That's fine. Shane probably has all the tools to have been a great wrestler, but he didn't really train for it. He trained to be a character, so he doesn't have any fundamentals. And so he's a spot fest guy. There wasn't really any spot fest to be had here, so they did the match the best way they could, and it worked. And that's going to bring us to the match between Charlotte Flair and Trish Stratus. I'm not going to lie, I don't have much to say about this match, mostly because I didn't see much of it. During this match, my network feed was spazzing out like crazy. It would buffer, and then it would fast forward through a bunch of stuff, and then it would rewind, and then it would buffer again, fast forward through a bunch of stuff, rewind. I maybe saw 2 minutes of the match. It was really bad. I've got nothing to say about it. All I know, Charlotte won. And Trish did have a little celebration after the match, because of course they're in Canada. But Charlotte won, which, hey, a legend versus current talent. That's what should happen. They seem to make Trish look competitive. So I don't know if it was a little too much or not, because again, I couldn't see it. But it was obvious from what I could make out they made her look competitive with Charlotte. But yeah, Charlotte wins, which is exactly what should happen. Now that will bring us to the match between Finn Balor and the debuting Fiend. Now the big question is, how is this Fiend going to work? Is it just going to be Bray Wyatt with a new coat of paint? How is it? I will say I loved the Fiend's entrance. I'm a big horror freak. I love crazy gimmicks. I love horror. So this guy is going to be right down my alley from what I saw. He had a new lantern. It looked like he stuck the lantern inside some guy's head. It was really cool and disturbing, and I loved that about it. Absolutely. The match was what it needed to be. The Fiend pretty much dominated the entire match. There were times when he would put his hands up here like he would do occasionally during the Firefly Funhouse. And I don't know if this was supposed to be him having inner turmoil or what. So I'm not sure what that was. Maybe we'll find out later. I've been loving the Firefly Funhouse and all of that. And I think I'm going to like this new Fiend character. He's definitely seems to be more aggressive than the old Bray was. So we're going to see where this is going to go. Hopefully they're finally going to do Bray right with this character. I was really impressed with the Fiend's debut. They did exactly what they needed to do out of it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. This was, even though the match wasn't much to speak of because it was basically a squash match with a couple of hope spots for Finn, this might be the segment of the night that gets me wanting to know what happens next even more. This might be what I'm most interested in seeing the follow-up for. Now, Finn is also supposed to be taking some time off, so don't think we're going to see the Demon versus the Fiend anytime soon. But I want to see that now. I want to see that. They basically did with the Fiend what I've been saying for a long time they should be doing with Finn when he brings the Demon out. He should be more aggressive, more resilient. Yep. I enjoyed this one. It was a great segment. Not much of a match. It was a squash match. But a great overall segment. Great debut for the Fiend. And last but not least, we have the Universal title match between Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. And this is another match I can't say much about because, again, the WWE Network decided I only got to see about a minute of the match. The network was bad tonight. It's worse than I think I've ever seen it tonight. And this match was like the epitome of it. This and the Trish Stratus match were the worst. I literally couldn't see. It's like the stream would take us from point A to point G in the match. And then it would take us back to point C and then to point J. I couldn't watch most of the match. I have no idea what happened for most of the match. It could have been a schlock fest. It could have been Steamboat Flair, for all I know. I got no idea. No clue. Couldn't watch it. The network was just crap. I do know that at the end, Seth Rollins won, because I got to see the last 10 seconds of the match. That's about it. So, yeah, Seth Rollins won, so yay. But I couldn't watch the match, so I don't know. Overall, the matches I could see most of them were at least passable, if not pretty good. I still think from what I could see, Ember Moon Bayley was probably the best match of the night. The best segment of the night was Finn Balor and The Fiend. I really want to see what they do with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend after this. I want to see where that goes. But just network issues held this pay-per-view back. I've got a lot of nostalgia for Summer Slam. It's one of the big four. I really like Summer Slams. And I couldn't enjoy it because of network issues tonight. So that's my opinion leaving tonight, and it is what it is. So why am I doing this? I don't know. Anyway, so that's my review for the night. I won't be doing another one of these again until the next of the big four, which will be Survivor Series. Yes, Survivor Series will be the next one. I basically only do these for the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. The big four. The only four that as far as I'm concerned, really matter. And occasionally I'll do a takeover. So I will see you for another one of these wrestling reviews, either when something really big happens that I really want to talk about, or Survivor Series. This has been Al. I'll see you all next time. You all know the deal. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you like this. I'm working on the format. I don't do these very often. I gotta decide how I want to do them, how I can make them better. If there's anything I can do to improve the visual quality with the setup I have, I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. It might be a bit. But did you watch SummerSlam tonight? What did you think? Did you have the same kind of network issues I did? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear from you. I'm out.